It was July 1998. I got a call from my dad asking me to come to the house. That never happened before, so I knew something was wrong. Once my sister got there, we sent her kids outside to play and we sat around the table. And my dad proceeded to tell us that he had kidney cancer, transitional cell carcinoma. My sister was getting married in September, so he said he wouldn't start his treatments until after. He would have the surgery, but the radiation and chemo would start after. When they operated on him, they said that his tumor was the size of a grapefruit. It was such a time of lament. Why, God? I have always struggled with my relationship with my dad. When my brother was born, I was told that my dad adopted my sister and I so that we'd all have the same last name. My brother was the baby and his biological son, so he got all of the attention. I became very rebellious after my parents got divorced, and by the time I was 18, I was asked to leave or join the armed forces. I cannot imagine what it was like for my dad to marry a woman with 2 young girls. It was good while they were married, but once they were divorced, we moved back and forth and we had very little supervision. My mom worked all the time and my dad worked nights. I was just looking for love. I wanted to be cherished and valued. I wanted to be important enough for someone to love me, but it didn't always feel that way. So in 1998, I was 8 years older. I was building a healthy relationship with my dad where I started to feel appreciated. And I was so thankful for his invitations to go to the house for holidays. And now he had cancer. Today, we're going to talk about why lament is important. It is to be reminded of our humanity and how it is a natural loving response to the world marked by sin and brokenness. When we are in the depths of our pain, it is easy to feel alone or abandoned. How could you let this happen, God? How long will you be away? How long will this pain last? When we are in our pain, we are deeply connected to our humanity. We can go through each ordinary day not really thinking about how things affect us or how we are affecting others. We are just doing and being. But when we are in pain, we become more aware of ourselves and our connections with others. When we are in pain, we think more about God and his perceived absence in our lives. We feel alone and abandoned. Where in your life have you been waiting for God to deliver you? What about in your community or in your family? What do you want deliverance from? Are you wondering about your future? Are you worried about what's going on in the world or our country? Where is God in all of this? What about our church? We love this church. We love God. We love the community. Why aren't people coming? What about the future of this church? Will it be able to survive the passing of time? We are in a season of Lent. We will spend the next 40 days focusing on our mortality and spend time in self-reflection. Part of our mortality is looking at our humanness. We experience loss and grief. Our theme of lament is about bringing our pain and our sorrow to God in honest prayer. Our world focuses on the immediate, not allowing us time for grief or pain or discomfort. We are always looking to find a solution, to get better, to move on. But if we want to deepen our love for God and for ourselves, we need to allow ourselves the time needed to be in that pain and that discomfort so we can heal. So what is lament? It's defined as passionate expression of grief or sorrow. Think about the Jews. They have the wailing wall where they go to express their lament to God. We too need to go to God in that same way, expressing our deep pain and sorrow. Lament isn't just grieving, complaining, or venting, but it's all three. We often hear about the 5 stages of grief. Well, there are 5 stages of lament. And in Psalm 13, it showcased all of them. The website NT Write Online highlights the 5 elements. Think about it. When we turn to God in lament, it's an act of praise. For we believe in God and we will turn to Him to solve our problem. We know who God is and we know what He can do. Our lament to God is also proof of our relationship with Him. We wouldn't turn to Him if we did not believe that we had a relationship with Him. We believe in God and we would believe that He will come to us in our pain. Our lament is also a pathway to a deeper relationship with God. The more we turn to Him in our pain, the deeper and more intimate our relationship with God becomes. We open our hearts to a deeper relationship. It is okay to cry out to God and plead with Him to help us in our pain. The more we reach out to God, the deeper our relationship. Our lament to God is a prayer for God to act. Prayer is taking action in our own grief. We lay it all out before God. We cry out, asking God to be present in our lives and to take action. When we lament, we are participating in our community. We don't just lament to God about ourselves, but we raise up others. Perhaps it's friends going through cancer. Or maybe we lament over the enemies of war or the sin of racism or sexism. We turn to God for a better world, a better community, a better life. Whatever rings true for you, allow yourself to lament. Go to God in a personal time of prayer, of pleading, of crying out to Him. If you don't want to lament in front of your family or friends, go for a drive. Park in an empty parking lot and just scream, yell, cry, whatever it is, and allow those feelings to flow. I know that we always want to get over it quickly, but it is okay to allow ourselves our grief in our lives. As we allow the grief and pain to be present, it allows us to deepen our relationship with Christ. We want everything to be okay. We want others to think we have it all together. But this isn't about what others think. It is about our relationship with God, our personal relationship with God. This is about deepening our understanding of ourselves and how God works in our lives. Being a Christian doesn't mean we avoid tragedy. Jesus tells us in John 16, verse 33, that in this world we will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. When we experience trouble, Jesus promises that he will accompany us through the tough times and gives us the hope that the tragedy and pain is not the final word. So after my sister got married, my dad started his treatments. My sister took him to most of them, but I helped when I could. We began to spend more time together, sitting and talking. My boyfriend at the time broke up with me, and I talked to my dad about it. He reassured me that I was going to be okay. He told me what he imagined for me in my life, and that it would be okay. It was the most meaningful conversation. He told me that he also knew my sister was going to be okay. She had a good husband who worked hard, and he would take care of her. I visited him often. Sometimes we were just sitting there watching TV together. But most of the time, he would cook big meals for the family. He loved to cook, and I think that was his love language. He was getting better and went back to work for a couple months until he got worse. He was in the hospital on Father's Day, and I sat with him. And again, he shared his thoughts with me. And our relationship became unlike anything we had ever had before. We had healing. I finally knew that he loved me. And a month later, on July 16th, 1999, he died. It took a year for the cancer to take him from me. It left the largest hole in my heart that I had ever experienced. And I would lament, why, God? Why take him from me now when we worked so hard to heal our relationship? I wanted more time. I had that year, but I wanted more. I had finally received the love I so longed for from my dad, and now he was gone. What good came from my dad dying? He and I were able to heal our relationship. When he died, we had no regrets. We shared our feelings, and I knew that he loved me. We may have only had that one final year, but it was the best year of my life with him. Because I had been sober for 8 years, I was able to be present with him. He could see what I had already accomplished, like going to college, buying a home, and living a sober life. In that final year, I was finally able to allow my heart to be open and allow love in. In that final year, not only did I deepen my relationship with my dad, but I deepened my relationship with God. I went to him with my lament, asking for relief of my pain. And over time, it did lessen. It is okay to lament. It is okay to cry, to yell, to feel the sorrow, because God knows it will bring you closer to Him. How can we create a space that allows people to lament and grieve at their own pace, in their own way? How can we be a church that allows people to question God and feel the despair and allow it to turn into a place of trust and hope where we bear each other's burdens with grace and hope? It is okay to lament. It is okay to let others lament. Let's walk with one another in our pain and give hope to the lost and the broken, because there is nothing better than the feeling on the other side. The feeling of being loved and appreciated and valued. May God be the guide through each other in our pain and lament.